to complete the picture frame project. In order to do this project, I'm going to share with you a template. The template is going to have this, which is the face of the picture frame, and it will also have the middle filler panel and the back panel. The middle and back panel don't change. It's set up for both horizontal and vertical frames, and you don't have to edit them at all. So I'm not going to show those components in this video. I'm going to focus on the face, which is what you see and what you're going to want to customize. Now, the face you could customize by putting images in, putting different font in, anything that you want to do, you could put in. But if you just put font and pictures traced in here, it's probably not going to look that nice. And it's going to still look kind of basic. So what I've done on most of the ones that I do is put pictures that end up cutting into here where your picture would be. I think that looks really nice, it looks really cool, and it's something special that you don't really see out there. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First, you have to go pick your image and put it into the program. And then you're going to trace it. Just like any other image, we're going to trace this. So it's a vector. Well, actually, we have to trace it really because we want it to end up cutting. Remember, you don't have to trace every image that you engrave, but since we're going to be cutting with this, we do. If we were just engraving it, we didn't have to, but usually I almost always trace them. So I like this turtle. Let's just pretend I liked how it traced. Now I'm trying to figure out where I want it to be. I want it to be over here. I'm getting the size right. And I want this to cut in to the frame like this. The problem is I need this line now to intersect and follow this line. How do you do that? To do that, what we're actually going to do first is create a copy of this image, and we're going to manipulate this copy. So I'm going to take my copy, and I'm going to have to hit expand, and I'm going to ungroup it. I really want to mess with just this back part of the image, this outline of the image. I don't care what's inside. Sometimes in order to mess with just that background, you're often going to have to hit release. Now it's all dark. I don't really want all these lines inside here. That's going to mess things up. I want it to just all be one. So the Pathfinder tool, I could click Unite. And now you see I only have that outline. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to now move this outline. I don't care that this is here. I just really care about the outline, although if you use the Unite tool, it should fix that. But I'm going to move this outline so it cuts in where I want it. So let's imagine I want it to cut into the picture frame here. Now I'm going to click my silhouette and the line, and I'm going to again use the Pathfinder tool, but I'm going to hit these three dots and click divide. Now you could see it's starting to cut in. I have this blue line here. The tricky part is I have to start deleting things, but I have to ungroup it first. Now that it's ungrouped, I could start deleting this stuff, and you'll see that it cut in here. I have this little part here. I'm actually going to delete, actually I could leave that. I don't mind it. Maybe I would delete this if I didn't want it to. I think I'm going to delete it. I don't think I want it to cut that part out. And then I'm going to take my unedited version and line it up so it fits into where that cutout is. Now eventually when I go to cut this, I'm going to select these two lines And in order to cut, we have to change the color to red 255, then 00 for the other values, and then change the stroke to a thickness of 0.007. That's the magic combination that shows, or that tells the laser engraver you want it to cut, not engrave. Now I'm not going to make this guy those values because I don't want it to cut this guy, I want to engrave it. I do recommend while you're editing to probably have a thicker stroke just so you could see everything a little better. So I would, if this was a real project, I would keep on, putting what I want to engrave in and do these editing with the Pathfinder tool and such with a thick stroke, and then in the end I would change it to that 0.007. It's obviously a bit easier to see with the thick stroke, so I would recommend doing that and then just changing these values to what they need to be so the machine could cut at the end. And this stroke should actually be 255. I don't know why it's 250. I made a mistake there. So if you want to cut, the stroke color has to be 255.00, and this thickness has to be 0.007, but you could leave it thicker while you're manipulating it. Just at the end, before you send it to the machine, you have to make sure it's at those values. Now you could keep on editing this. I could have another picture cut in if I want. If I want to put another little picture here that doesn't cut in, it just engraves it, that's fine too. It's really all up to you. My advice is, I think the nicest picture frames cut in at least twice. So if I have this cutting in here, I would probably try to have something kind of cut into the picture frame, maybe up here. If you have like 2 or 3 things kind of cutting in like this, I think it looks really, really good. You don't want it to cut in too much, but just even if it comes in just a little bit, like over here, it's nice and it makes the projects look really unique and pretty cool. Once you're completely done, you'll save this and then the 2 other parts of the picture frame, save them all on one file, go to the laser engraver, and then engrave and cut all these different parts, and then we'll assemble it once it's cut out.